Hello, everybody. This is the Giant Spire here, back with another live stream. Today, I haven't been live in a while. On me. Today, we're going to do a little bit of talking about the New York Giants franchise right now and where do we go from here? Because there's a lot to talk about. Obviously, we suck. It's obviously number one, but we got to figure out why. And we'll get into that as the stream goes along. While we do talk about it, I am going to be watching the Bills 49ers game and calling that kind of not as like engaged, but if something cool happens, I'll definitely shout it out. So I'm going to be watching it as I talk to the stream. But again, I'm not expecting any viewers or a lot of viewers today. This is kind of just for archival purposes, just so I can kind of collect my thoughts. Think of it as like a long podcast where I just ramble about why this team is so bad and we figure out why we're so bad at the same time. But anyway, first of all, exciting news. I reached 100 subscribers on my YouTube channel a couple weeks ago. Very weird. I started this thing of like a month and a half ago. The reason why my guess is that Tom Grossi, he rated my stream twice, which was huge. So definitely shout him out for that. Shout out Tom Grossi for rating my stream. We appreciate you over here. Of course, TikTok is always growing. Every day I get a notification that someone has liked the Saquon Barkley reaction video where he scored like 2 touchdowns, which I'm glad people liked the video. I knew it was going to do pretty good, but I mean, everybody likes that video, which is crazy. Anyway, we're going to be talking about it. The Eagles actually just beat the Ravens 24-19, which I believe they go on to win 9 games in a row. So they're probably going to be Super Bowl favorites very soon. But let's talk about this team because there's a lot to talk about. We are not very good. We're 2-10. It's been a disaster. Obviously, this year's been a disaster. Obviously, the past decade's been a disaster. Everything about this team has been a disaster since we fired Tom Coughlin, and we've just recycled head coaches. We're not recycled, but we've just turned over head coaches, GM problems. We can't get it right. Obviously, there's a lot of issues, but I think we have to start from the top. What are the problems with this team? Because there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of problems. We're 2-10 for a reason. You are what your record is. So, going from the top down, what do we have to talk about here? Obviously, number one is the quarterback. We all know this. Everybody knows it's the quarterback. We need to draft one. What I see people saying on Twitter is that we need to wait for Arch Manning to come out of Texas, and then we're going to draft him, and he's going to be the next great quarterback. We can't take these guys this year. They're not good. They're too raw prospects. What is wrong with you people? No. What is wrong with you people? Because honestly, if you really believe that Arch Manning is going to be the saving grace of this franchise, you might be right. But you're going to predict the future to think that we're going to be in a position to draft this high again? Now, you might be right because the Giants have sucked for years, and we've had high draft picks for years. But why would you want to predict the future when you're set up so good in the present? We're going to get a top 3 pick this year. No doubt in my mind. Probably 2, probably 1, probably 3. I don't know, but top 3. Why not take a quarterback? What else are we going to take? A defensive lineman? What are we going to take? We need to take a quarterback. And obviously, this brings the question up. What quarterback are we going to take? Because there's 2 very top prospects there that a lot of people are debating back and forth. Who should the Giants take if they so desperately are in a position to? Now, I think they love Shedeur Sanders. I think they really do. What you've seen is what you've gotten from him. He's played really good. He's had a really good year. Now the team is separate. Obviously, they're not making the playoffs because they kind of play themselves out of it. Whatever. He's been a pretty good quarterback. Question the conference, question the games. He has the talent. I've watched him play. He's pretty good. And they seem to like him. Joe Shane and Brandon Brown have both been at Colorado practices uh, recently. I know Brandon Brown was at one at the beginning of the year, and he kind of spoke to the players as well. And I think last week Shane and Brandon Brown were at a Colorado practice as well, talking to Dion. So again, they love him. They love him for some reason. They think very highly of him. They probably want him. Now, again, we can't predict the future. We don't know where we're going to be picking in the draft. I'm guessing top 3. I don't think we're going to win another game this year, but again, crazier things have happened. But if we are not 1, and maybe the Raiders are 1, do you really think the Giants would trade up to get him? They could. I see them trading up in a position to. If Jacksonville's here, I'll give you an example. If Jacksonville's 1 and we're 2, you probably stay. But I think you have to have a very solid offer. Now, I want to give up the whole house. But again, you got to think about it like this. Ward and Sanders. In my opinion, I think they're both pretty reasonable prospects. Once we get into the offseason, we'll do more research on them. But I think that the Giants right now really like Sanders. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you I think we're going to get Sanders. The first 3 picks of the draft are very, very – they're hard to predict right now because a lot can change. Once everything's set in stone, it's more easier to predict. But I think really what you got to look at is, Sanders is a very good prospect. Could he turn this team around in a year? Probably not. But with drafting a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders, I think you have to get a veteran in here. A solid veteran. Not like a Jacoby Brissett, not like a I'm Andy Dalton. No. Not like a second string kind of like tight, like I don't even know what I'm saying. Not really like bad. I can't even speak right now. I can't even speak. Not really like a bad backup quarterback. I'm like a lot of things are going on. I just stop. Not really like a bad backup. We need a very solid veteran in our field. We need someone to kind of sit with Sanders and kind of maybe figure it out again. I don't know if we're going to get him. Would I like him? Yes. And people are questioning, would Dion even let him go to the Giants? Because they've sucked for years. And Dion has kind of a shaky relationship with the Giants because they didn't want to draft Dion back in the day. But, I mean, it's different people, so whatever. I think he would. My brother, Entertainer Talking Sports, he said this recently, that Dion's a businessman. Dion knows what's right for his kids. Dion understands business in the National Football League. If you want to be a star, you come to New York City. You know how many players' lives have been changed because they've stepped into this city and stepped onto the New York Giants football organization? A lot of players have. Not so much the team, but look at the track record. Odell Beckham Jr., hello. Saquon Barkley, hello. Now, you can argue that if they went to different franchises, they'd be better, but I think that them being in New York elevated them to an extreme. Eli Manning, you can go on. There's many players that have come to New York that if they were on different teams, more than likely they would be forgotten in an instant. It's just facts. It's a big market. People know what they're looking for here. We're not dumb. Even though it says that the New York Giants fan base is the dumbest fan base. I mean, it might be. I mean, I don't think I'm some some non-intelligent person. I think I know what I'm talking about to an extent. I don't know everything, but to an extent, I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm rambling. The point is, I think Dion would definitely let him come here. I think the reasons why the Giants have sucked for years, but again, whatever. I think that he would let him come here. Just purely of a business fact, and like we've a cornerstone organization in the NFL. People say that we suck, we're a poverty franchise, and for the past decade we have been. We've been poverty for the past 10 years. That's no one's debating that. But we have 4 rings. We have a legacy. Here's our 100th season. We're a cornerstone franchise, whether you like it or not. We've been here for years. We've done the right things to get these championships. So we've sucked, and it sucked. And I want to die every time I turn on the TV and watch this team play because it's not very fun to watch them. But we have to consider the quarterback. Let's take a little sidetrack. Daniel Jones to the Vikings. I thought he was going to go to the Niners. He ended up going to the Vikings. I think it's a great place for him. He can sit behind Darnold, work with Kevin O'Connell, just to kind of develop that mindset. If Darnold can come there and be a successful quarterback after being in a lot of places and not playing well, why not Jones? I mean, he definitely has the capabilities to do it. I think it's a good position for him to be in. Obviously, after this year, he'd have to sign a different team, but I think it's a good place for him. I think that him being there is, I don't know if he's going to do anything this year. The only way he does anything this year is if Darnold gets injured, but I think it's good for him to kind of just sit and watch and just be a part of Kevin O'Connell's team. And I mean, they're going to go to the playoffs this year. They're going to do something. So good for him. Good for him. But, I had to mention that because it's facts. So we talked about the quarterback. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not going to say here right now. I'll tell you who I want. I probably would prefer Sanders. But again, you got to pick one. If you don't pick one, you're out of your mind. What else? What else are the problems? Because the quarterback's not the only problem. We could sit here and talk about the quarterback being the problem. It's not. This team has way more problems than just the quarterback. I've said that many times before in this stream. I've said that many times before in the videos. We are a trash football team right now. We're not good. We're young. We're not good. O-line. What's going on there? The beginning of the year, it looked like an above-average offensive line, if not average. It looked palatable. They could play. There was time for Jones in the pocket. There were great holes. What happened? One man goes down, and all of a sudden, it goes to shit. We lose our 2 starting tackles, and what happens? Disaster? Cannot happen. O-line, you need to have good depth. You need to have good depth at the O-line. If you don't, you're screwed. You cannot rely on those same 5 people to start the year and to finish the year. You just can't have that happen. You cannot have that happen. You need to have solid depth because more often than not, they're going to get injured. As you've seen, Andrew Thomas this year, injured. Jelena Illuminor, injured. Terrible. What's going on? John Michael Smith's at center. He has regressed. He's getting pushed and shoved all over the field. And the guards? Not good enough. So we're going to have this problem for I don't even know how many years in a row. It's been as much as we sucked. If we're not going to have a solid offensive line and you cannot rely on your starters to play the entire year and have solid depth at the position, you got to grow it from there because it's a problem. Sacks for the past 5 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever, since Andrew Thomas got injured. One man cannot be the entire offensive line. It just cannot happen. It can't. It needs to be built better. And it's just not. It's a disaster. And you see it happening. All across the league, O-lines get injured. But the good O-lines and the good teams, what do? What do the good O-lines and what do the good teams do? They have depth. It don't matter what players are out of the roster. Next man up mentality. You take that player off the bench, you put him in the line, doesn't matter. And it kind of depends on how you're built, and it kind of depends if you're a good team all around it. At the end of the day, you got to have depth at the line. If you don't, you're screwed. You're screwed. So that's a problem. O-line, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go write all this down. We're going to write the problems with this team. And I'll let you know how much problems we have, because clearly I'm going to be talking about this for a long time. And by the way, these are all problems that we've had for a long time. No one can fix them. I don't know why, but no one can fix these problems. So let's begin. Problems. Quarterback is number one. Number two, O-line. I think I think we have to write down depth / guard. All right, that's two. Technically three. We move on. Running back. I wouldn't say it's a problem. I love Tyrone Tracy. He plays his heart out every freaking game. The only problem he has is the fumbling. If he can fix that up in the offseason, he can play really good football. I don't really have an issue with the running back situation right now. I think that might not be fixed, but it's trending in the right direction that we can kind of not label that as a big issue for this team. So I think the running back situation, if Tyrone Tracy continues to play the way he's been playing, if he cleans up the fumbling problems, I think he can be a really good back in the league. So let's not put it down. Moving on. Wide receivers. Malik Neighbors, we know him. Dog. We understand that. You understand that. He's a good player. He's going to be just fine when he gets a quarterback. But the other ones, I like Wan'Dale Robinson too. And hopefully with a quarterback, he can succeed as well. Got to catch the football. Darius Slayton. He's been here for 6 years, just as long as Jones has. He's a good receiver when he plays well. When he doesn't play well. Inconsistency is the name of the game with him. He's a 5th-round wide receiver. He's probably leaving next year. For the past couple of years, he's been here on a vet minimum deal, which I get. He wants to stay here. He wants to build it out. Hopefully the team could be, playing better at some point. No, I think it's time to move on. I think it's time to get a wide receiver too. A very real wide receiver too. And I'm going to write real down here because I don't think Darius Slayton's a real wide receiver too. I think that he's just a wide receiver too for the sake of being, because he's on the roster and he's the best one we have right now. Jalen Hyatt, also disaster. We traded up to get him, and what has he done? I think we're still going to keep him. I don't think we're going to walk him away. He's on his 2nd year, but I don't know. I don't know. But I think wide receiver 2 is a very real issue. So we're going to write that here. A real wide receiver 2 is number 3. Moving on. Tight end. Theo Johnson's a baller. When we played on Thursday against Dallas, he had a really good second half. Really good. He played really well. he never gave up running. He always put his head down, finished through the tackle. Really, really, really solid performance from him on Thursday. He broke his foot. I don't think he broke it. Something's wrong with his foot. He's out for the year. It doesn't matter. He is out for the year. I don't think tight end's an issue. I really don't. Maybe you get another tight end, but I think Theo Johnson has shown himself to be a solid tight end. And maybe he can continue next year. Obviously, we're not going to see any more of him this year, but hopefully next year he can kind of elevate with a new quarterback. But we'll leave that there. So the offense, I think that's it. There's obviously other problems with the offense. Also, like 11 players on the team. You need depth at the end of the day. If one player gets hurt, you need something better because the depth here sucks baloney. So obviously depth is a huge factor to all of this. Switching over to the defensive side. When you look at the defensive line, I think it's pretty good. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, all guys that have kind of had success this year. We need another D-line. We need another one. Because the one that we have right now paired up to Dex is not very good. And we need another solid one. We need another D lineman. Can't stop the run. Can't stop the run. Tackling. Huge problem. Tackling is a huge problem for this football team in the latter weeks. And so it's kind of been a problem. We can't tackle. What's going on? No one can tackle. No one can tackle. Linebackers. Depth there. I like Micah McFadden. What happened to Bobby O? What happened to him? He fell off the cliff. Last year had a Pro Bowl year. Not last year. 2 years ago. What's going on? CB1. Deontay Banks is not a CB1. He might be a CB2. He ain't a CB1. We need one bad. That's it. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot one more thing. That's the biggest part of this. Depth. Depth. We have no depth. We don't have any depth. One player gets hurt, it's like the world just ended. Can't happen. You can't be a GM and that can't happen. You can't have that happen. These are the problems. These are the problems. These are the problems with this football team. There's probably more that I missed. Quarterback, O-line, wide receiver 2, D-lineman, tackling, linebackers, quarterback 1, and depth. Oh, I forgot one. Kicker. Sorry, Graham Gano. I can't see you get hurt another week and we lose the game to your absence. We need a kicker. These are problems. These are reasons why teams lose football games. All of these guys. If you don't have this one, you're screwed. If you're not winning here, I literally can't read. If you're not winning here, you're screwed. If you ain't winning in these trenches, you're absolutely out of your mind. You need a win here. And these need depth because you know damn well someone's getting hurt. And this 49ers game and this Bills game is starting right now, and it's snowing in Buffalo. You need depth. There's problems with this team that go way beyond the roster. Management, coaching, ownership. There's a lot more. These are just the basics. There's a lot more problems with this team. But obviously, to tell you straight up, it's bad. This ain't going to be fixed in a year. I can tell you that right now. We have to wait a while before this team ever gets a chance to make the playoffs again. The bright side is that we're a young roster. There's a lot of young players on this team and not a lot of veterans. And that could be a good thing because that allows the team to grow as one unit. But it takes longer to kind of win. So I could, sit here and tell you that this team's going to be better next year with a new quarterback and he's going to come in here and fix all different problems. But that's probably not going to be the case. It really won't. What'll happen is next year will probably be the same. If not a little better, if not a little worse. I can't predict it, but I hope we're better. Oh, man, I hope we're better, but we're not going to be good for a while. This team is young. If to take any positives out of this team this year would have to be the rookie class. Let's talk about the rookie class because I think that there's definitely and the Bills are going to have to punt here. It's fourth down on their first drive. It is absolutely snowing, and I'm wiping this off. So just to show you that I'm not doing anything other than this. This does suck. This is using this pen. But it is snowing in Buffalo right now, which is absolutely unbelievable. Interesting game for the Niners. See if they can find a way to win. A game like this would be huge for them to win, even though they're probably not going to the playoffs. But the Bills, I mean, they don't need a win, but winning here would be a statement. Not really a statement, but I mean, I like the Bills. I'm rooting for the Bills to win. I've always been so high on the Bills to let me just bring you closer here a little bit. I've always been so high on the Bills. Just year after year, they've always just seemed like a well-run organization in recent years. And with Josh Allen, it feels like they can always win a game unless they're blown out, which does happen sometimes when they're just completely blown out and you completely catch them flat. But this year they haven't really looked like that. They're 9-2, so I mean they look really good. And the Niners, I mean, they're riddled with injuries, so we'll see. I'll call this play though. Purdy's gonna be in the shotgun set. Oh, little trippage there by 15. I think that's Jawan Jennings. So Purdy takes a snap. He's gonna throw over the middle. He's got Kittle. I believe that was a catch. It's gonna be second down and about 4. So, oh my God, another voice crack. I always come on here and voice crack, and I don't mean to do it, but I just do it anyway. What was I doing? Oh, the rookies. So let's talk about the rookies because I think that this is probably the one thing that you can kind of take this year and kind of say, okay, this is probably a bright spot. All of these guys. I don't need to explain one. Malik Neighbors, we all know him. We all love him. He's a GOAT. Not a GOAT. He might be a GOAT. He has incredible talent. With a quarterback, he can play really good football. It's just a matter of time. Hopefully he gets a good quarterback, and hopefully we can see him shine. I forgot who they drafted in the second round. I got to go back and check. I feel like I should know. Oh, yeah, they took Newman. That's right. Number 2, they took Tyler Newman, which I think Dane Belton and him, they're young. We got Dane Belton last year. They're having some trouble back there, but I think Newman has actually played really well this year, all things considered. He's had some plays where he's missed, but and McCaffrey's got to run really hard all the way down to the 30. Dude. He is just a monster. Wow. I think Tyler Newman has played well, all things considered. I think he's had a pretty good year. Not a phenomenal year, but I think he's had a solid year. Hopefully, he grows into a better player as the years progress. Um, it's a matter of time. We can't judge him based off of 1 year yet, but I think he's played well, all things considered. Um, then in the third round, we got Drew Phillips, who has played out of his mind this year. He really has. Um, he's played very well in the slot. Um, I'm yawning so much. I'm tired. Um, he's had great tackles. He's had great pass breakups. I mean, he's really been an all-around player for us. A very impressive showing this year from the third round out of Kentucky, I believe. Um, really, really solid. He's going to be very good. Hopefully, he does. He's continuing to play well. I don't think he's hurt. Uh, I don't think he's hurt, but hopefully he'll play better as we move on, uh, as the years move on. Theo Johnson, obviously, last week he had a very good game. I should say this week he had a good game against the Cowboys. He's kind of week after week improving. You can tell last week why they drafted him. He's big, he's fast, he runs through tackles. He has head of steam. He's been playing very well this year. So hopefully he continues that with a better quarterback. And obviously we got to talk about the man, Tyrone Tracy, um, out of Purdue. We had Singletary. He went down earlier the year. He came in kind of as a, we'll see what happens with him. And he's played really just phenomenal football. He's run the rock very well for us. Definitely a very good pick in the later rounds from Joe Shane. And you obviously have to see that, and you have to consider him a starter going forward. And I believe he will be a starter going forward. And obviously, the last pick, who's kind of been the most quiet player on the rookie class, is Darius Massah out of UCLA. You haven't really seen him a lot this year. He's more of a depth player. He is a linebacker. Um, the reason why I don't believe he's out there is because McFadden and Okereke are really out there most of the time. Hopefully, he gets a chance to improve. I think they are kind of cycling him out there later in the year. I think now is the time that you're probably getting him out there, getting him some more reps to see what he can do. But I remember earlier in the year, I think he has our only interception. Can you believe that? No. The Giants have one interception this year. One. I have to remind myself that sometimes because I'm like, really? And it's true. We have one interception. One. Why? Why? I mean, it was week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings. And we were completely out of the game at that point. But I think Darius Massah got the interception. It was a disaster. What is this? Week 13? Week 13? We have one interception. We might break a record of having the lowest interceptions in a year in the history of the National Football League. Even by accident, I don't even know if you can do that. But looking at this rookie draft class, really, if you look at it, it's pretty good. And we can't really judge a draft class based on the first year, but we kind of had a bet, in our heads say that was a pretty good draft class. That all of our rookies are pretty much being used efficiently, and we can kind of agree that not any of these are just bust out of the gate. I mean, you want to talk about bust? We can talk about bust. Evan Neal, he is bad, and I love people after like 2 weeks ago when he had a good game against the Bucks. Oh my God, Evan Neal had a pretty good game last week. Evan Neal had a good game. Really? Just wait. Just wait. He will always disappoint you. He will always disappoint you. And he did. And he did. And he did. And I know he's going up against Micah Parsons. But you're a first round draft pick. You're the seventh overall pick. You should be locking him up. I think they've kind of. I can't believe he was a bust, man. I really can't believe he was a bust. I really cannot believe he was a bust. But he was. He was a bust. So where do we go from here? Because, oh God, man, we are really bad. There's a lot of problems with this team. And I think that in just reality, it's just like, I can't sit here and like, it sucks. We're a joke. We're a joke of a team. We're not taken seriously anymore. I don't like to walk out of the house with any Giants merch on. It's embarrassing to be a fan of this team. It's just a mess. Saquon Barkley is going to have an MVP season in Philadelphia, a nightmare scenario for John Mara and all fans of this team. Daniel Jones, after paying him a huge contract, is gone in Minnesota as a backup. And we're sitting here 2-10, maybe getting the first pick in the draft. And you wonder if everyone's job is safe. Is Dable's job safe? Is Joe Shane's job safe? Here's my opinion on this whole idea of maybe starting anew. Is a reset incoming? Is that what we need to do? Does this team need to have a complete overhaul? Maybe, but I think it's hard to kind of say. When you look at why Dable was so beloved by this team in 22, he came in, roster wasn't expected to do anything, took us to the playoffs and won a game. If you do that in New York, let alone the Giants, you're going to be a hero. We've sucked for years, and that was our first taste of just breath of glory for forever. And it was so nice to just have that experience, just to be on the top again. And be considered as contenders and serious contenders. Not contenders for a Super Bowl, but playoff contenders. That's what I mean. It was fun. And then last year, it just seemed like a disaster because Jones got hurt and Andrew Thomas got hurt, and it just kind of felt like a mess. And there wasn't really doing anything. It didn't look like it was going to turn around. Then you bring in DeVito. He wins a couple of games on the stretch. I think this team still has a fighting chance to, they're fighting. They're doing their best. But I mean, they weren't going to do anything. So then you look forward to this year. Jones comes back. You draft Neighbors. You get some pieces. Brian Burns comes in. You have a solid rookie draft class. You might be able to win some games this year on the upswing. Maybe Jones improves. You get rid of Barkley. Obviously, he goes away. I guess that's what it was. We're 2-10. We suck. So I guess you gotta wonder, is it right to fire both of them if you really look at it? Considering that he's here for his third year and we've regressed rather than improved is shocking to me. Because really, Dable took a team that, frankly, wasn't ready for the playoffs by any stretch of the imagination and took them there and won a game. That team should have not won a playoff game. That team should have made the playoffs. But because the team had so much confidence and really pride themselves on those close wins where down the stretch in the fourth quarter, they found a way to flip the game in their favor, we won a lot of football games that year. It was great, but it also set us back a few years. Because when you win like that, and you win a playoff game and you go to the playoffs with your rookie head coach and your rookie GM, you say to yourself, oh, maybe we're closer than we think we are. Maybe this team is a good team. Maybe there are some pieces here that we can kind of consider. No. And frankly, Dable and Shane weren't going to be like, well, we won a playoff game. It's time to blow it up. You build from that. And hopefully the next year Jones improves. And you get rid of and you keep Saquon for another year. You franchise tag and you see if you can replicate that year that he had the year before. You might get some pieces in a Deontay Banks, in somebody else. No, the O-line was as worse as possible. Jones got hurt, week 4, never came back. Disaster year. You try to do the right things, and what happens? Things go wrong. And then this year, you get rid of Barkley, you get rid of Jones, and then we suck. There's a clear direction to go with this team. It's not muddled. It's not, well, we want a playoff game, and now we got to kind of figure out where we go from here. It's a clear blow-up job. We need everything redone. We need a new quarterback, and we need to build from the inside out. Once again, can we do it? Sure. It's been done before on many teams, many times. But to say that it's going to happen immediately is wrong. I don't think Shane should be fired. I don't think he should. Nail me to a cross. I don't think he should be fired. Has he made the best choices? No. Should he have signed Barkley? That's up for debate. Should he have paid Jones that money? That's up for debate. Hindsight 2020, obviously, you say. He shouldn't have paid. He should have signed Barkley. He should have done this. He should have done that. Obviously, you'll say all these things in hindsight. But I don't think he should be fired. I don't. I think Mara's going to keep both of them for 1 year. Not 1 year. Because consider this. Shane's coming back. You know who he's drafting. Mr. Quarterback. Whether that be Sanders or Ward. So he's going to be here for 1 more year. Not 1 more year. At least 2 more years. Because you're not expected to win with your rookie quarterback. But you expect to improve as a team. If they keep him, they got at least 2 more years. Dable is another factor. I don't know about him. It's tough. In this situation, would any team succeed? Probably not. But They really, but it's dependent on how you think Dable is as a head coach. Because you see players saying that, well, the message isn't lost in the locker room. We're playing soft. We're doing this. We're doing that. It all looks kind of bad for optics for Dable. It's fun when you win. When you lose, it's miserable. I think Dable should stay for one more year. But if Mara completely decides to say, we're blowing it up again, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to sit here and tell you, we got a chance. We got a chance. But I don't know. This team has a lot of problems. And to fix it all, it's going to take a long time. I don't think we should fire both of them just because we really suck and we're really in the trenches. But what do I know? I believe Buffalo touchdown, almost out of the first quarter. Ray Davis touchdown. So Buffalo goes up 6-3. Extra point pending. It is snowing hard. This is 2 snow games this year. I think both on Sunday night. Right? Sue. I don't know what I'm doing, bro. Extra point is good. It's going to be 7-3. Yeah, no one's in here right now, so I'm probably going to step away. Hopefully I can take some content out of this because I think that I don't know. Guys, we are not good as a team. It's been bad. It's been very bad for a long time. I think what we really need to do is kind of sit back and kind of consider where we go from here. Obviously, step one's the quarterback, but it's a matter of time. Obviously, the last thing John Mara wants to do is be embarrassed. So if he decides to blow it up, it's a matter of time if he does. I'm not too sure. I don't think they're going to get rid of Shane, but Dable's a huge question mark. I don't know if they're really going to let him go, but if the team speaks out and it becomes more of a disaster as the weeks goes on, it could get ugly. I'm not sure where to go from here. There's a lot of problems, but obviously this team has gone through. This might be the worst year in New York Giants history. Being a fan, it's tough to be a fan right now. I don't want to walk out of the house with Giants merch because it's so embarrassing to be around people and to have it on. I don't want to do it. I will always, root for the team, every all the time. At this point, I want a quarterback and I want a good one. I want to be a franchise that has optimism and not pessimism written all over it, because it's been like that for years. And I just, with too much to ask, it's not much to ask for. A lot of teams don't have franchise quarterbacks where they have a direction where you can say, "Oh, we're going in the right one," when we have gone in the other bad direction for 10 years. So if that means blowing it all up and getting rid of Shane and Dable, so be it. But if you let him stay for one more year, you got to give him another chance to get to develop their quarterback, whoever that may be. It's tough. But I think we're going to head out. I guess we're going to talk about how many problems this team has. I hope next time I could have some more viewers in here and maybe we can get a little conversation going. But that's okay. Look, this was fun to do. I definitely want to stream more. I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if I'm going to the Saints Giants game this week, next week, at MetLife. I don't know yet. I'm probably gonna stream it, but I'm not too sure. I would like to stream it. I probably am gonna stream it. It might be a disaster of a game, but we're gonna stream it. We're gonna have fun, or we're gonna go to the game, and maybe talk to some Giants fans about why are you at this game, and hopefully get some good content out of it. But guys, this was it. This was the state of the franchise of why this team is so bad, and where do we go from here? I don't know. I listed out all the problems, but who will be making these decisions when it comes to it? We don't know yet. Maybe Joe Shane, maybe somebody else, but it's tough to say now. If you like this video and you like this stream, please give it a like. Give us a subscribe. We're on our way to 110 subscribers. So we will be going for the moon. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you for watching. If you watch this, all love. Thank you. Peace out. This has been the Giant Spire. Have a good one.